Welcome to Real Estate U with Lettiann.
Ladies and gentlemen, the auction's on. Welcome to Real Estate U with Lettiann.
Wow, I've never been introduced like that, Jeff. Thank you so much. I was just about to say, welcome back to Lettiann U. Thank you for doing Real Estate U with Lettiann. And I'm honored to have Mr. Jeff Cate here. So, talk about a legend in the Kansas City marketplace, Cate's Auction and Realty. Jeff tells me his grandfather started the company in 1942, 4 generations. That's wild. I mean, that's just wild. And your son's behind me here, Chandler.
Yeah, 4th generation.
That's incredible. So do you likely know the story of why your grandfather started this business in 1942?
I do. And Lettiann, thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to be here today. We really appreciate that. So the reason my grandfather started the business, he grew up as a child on the farm going to auctions with his father.
In what town?
In Clay County,
Okay.
Kearney, Missouri.
Gotcha.
Fell in love with the chant of the auctioneer and just wanted to become an auctioneer. And so went to school to become a licensed auctioneer and started off with the opportunity to do an estate auction when his aunt passed away, and thus the formation of our company. And he went on to instruct at the Missouri Auction School for approximately 37 years, so taught a lot of auctioneers around the country. And so obviously I had a really good instructor throughout those years to learn the business.
So is that your natural voice or is that your caller voice coming?
Oh, that's my caller voice.
Let's see. I mean, because that's you're like almost a caller voice all the time. But let's hear like a real good auction call.
And ladies and gentlemen, the auction's on right there. How many dollars? Right there. Some mama about me and there. Better get $500,000. Open the bidding. Right there. Better get about $600,000 there. So.
Oh, that's my. Okay. Here's my number.
Number 42 is the buyer.
Love that. And if it doesn't work out, which I'm sure it will for another generation, it sounds like somebody at the racetrack. Who taught you that? I mean, did your grandfather teach your dad and then your dad taught you?
Yeah,
or do you guys talk like that at dinner across the table to one another?
Yeah, sometimes we did. No, but growing up in a family business, it was one of those things where on a weekend, even as a youngster, Dad would say, we need some help at the auction today. And so you'd just be around it so much. And, it's one of those where I said I really never wanted to do it, and then it just, it's in the blood and you drive down the road, just auctioneering and selling things you see as you're going down the road, practicing on your chant, and it's kind of known as the sound that sells.
It is. I think it's very cool. So I learned about auctions, property auctions, but there's a lot of confusion around auctions. So about 4 years ago, someone from your company and I had this discussion, and he literally walked me through the process of an auction. I'm like, we need to tell more people about this. This is incredible. Other realtors can refer, it's not like Cate's, everyone can be involved. And what we're doing, would you agree, is really helping the consumer. You're providing a service and value to someone who is having some difficulty selling their property.
Right. Has a need to sell. That's correct. And some of our clients, they've had the property on the market and it just hasn't sold. Other properties are properties that may be more difficult to value, that may take a longer time on the market to sell. There also may be clients that have lost a loved one or have moved to assisted living or have a need to also sell personal property. And so when we're providing the services to sell their real estate, we also provide the services to sell their collections or their art or their cars or their personal property as well. So.
And since I had the brief education about 4 years ago about what Cate's does and how they can help realtors and the consumer, I've been, watching the properties that come across, and there's some really, these aren't things that are falling down and I hope they pass inspection. You have some glorious properties all around the state of Missouri and Kansas.
Right. I think some of the myths are that auction properties are distressed. That they're on the courthouse steps, that you have to pay for them the day that you attend the auction on the courthouse steps, that you're buying. You don't know what you're buying. There's something wrong with the properties. And it's really, there are those out there that are done on the courthouse steps, but the majority of real estate auctions that are done today are not distressed properties. We just sold a property this year. It was an estate situation, but it was a mega mansion over in Loch Lloyd for a very prominent co-founder here in Kansas City of a property that was a luxury property that sold just under $3 million. So wasn't anything wrong with the property. It's just that in that price point, the buyer pool is fairly small, and it can take years for those properties to sell. And that decision for a seller to sell at auction is kind of time driven. Time is important. Time value of money is important to them. And therefore, we're able to compress the selling cycle to 30 days over it being, at times, months or even years to sell a property.
Can we talk a little bit more about that Loch Lloyd property?
Sure.
Okay. So was it on the market listed prior to Cate's? No,
it actually wasn't. They sought the advice of the real estate department in Loch Lloyd, and they recommended us to the family. And the reason was that they knew that, it was a property that was 14,000 square feet. It was just a lovely property, but it's one that is going to take years to sell.
Right.
And the family, it was important to them to kind of close that chapter. And so they were recommended by the real estate company as well as the estate sale company that came in and handled the sale for them and got it sold. And it was about a 45-day process. And it was a lot of fun. We created a lifestyle video, brought a production company in.
Where can we see that? If somebody wanted to see it.
It would be on our website at catesauction.com.
That's easy to remember. Cates with a C, folks. CATES. catesauction.com. So is it because they weren't we have to have 4 million? Because I know that I've inquired about a couple of listings I've had over the past few years with Cates and saying, is this a good product for an auction? And after you guys assessed it for me, you said, it's right on the cusp, and I don't think we could do it, what would be the best way to say that? More justice by auctioning the property.
Right.
So why was that Loch Lloyd 14,000 plus square feet, 3 million plus, why was that a good candidate?
I would say this, that they were more motivated to sell in a timely manner than they were in attaining a specific price.
That's what I thought.
More of a price range than a price point. It's like every property, and I tell our sellers that nobody can tell you ultimately what the offer is going to come in. A realtor can't tell you that, an appraiser can't tell you that. The market's going to tell you that, and we can give that to you in the form of providing you the marketing that's going to create the urgency and the competition and basically bring you qualified bidders together in an online marketplace. And the one that's willing to pay the most is the one that's going to get the property, and that's fair market value.
How many people did you have standing in the lawn that day?
So it's not on the lawn. It's all online.
What? I thought you were calling.
Oh, I know.
Here's my number.
Right.
You're not doing that?
That's the way it used to be.
Aw, I'm so disappointed.
I know. And there are still some auctioneers out there,
Wow,
obviously.
it's all online one day then.
But it's all online, and it's over a 30-day marketing period. All the due diligence is at the buyer's fingertips. They can bid 24/7 over a 30-day period, and it just makes it a lot easier on the buyer to do their due diligence, get the answers to their questions, get their ducks in a row, their finances in order prior to bidding, and then bid when it's convenient for them.
So then they can just stay in their jammies and hopefully they get this baller Lockwood house.
That's exactly right. And the conversion from, going to online was obviously created by buying habits, buyer behavior. And, when you look at the statistics, and 95% of buyers start their search for real estate online, that's just where we felt like we needed to be.
And it's an on-demand economy. So even if somebody in New York was like, I know a ball player who's for the Yankees, this might be a great, whatever. I mean, you've really just cast a huge net.
It's really global.
Instead of show ups, sign your name and get your.
That's right. And then have to make a decision in 2 minutes as to whether you're going to, buy it or not.
This is so cool. Okay, so I've got so many questions. I'm hoping you're going to be able to come back for a second episode. How much time do we have, Andy, on this?
9 minutes.
Okay, so what makes an ideal auction property? Because it's not any property, right?
It's really not any property,
okay.
and we don't take every property. And I think about 2 out of 10 properties that we look at will be a fit for our model. Mm-hmm. But the properties that are going to fit within our model are going to be determined by the seller specifically. Do they need to sell in a time definite timeline? Mm-hmm. Is it important to them to maximize in a shorter amount of time instead of waiting on the market to come to them? Do they have a need? I would just say this: it comes down to timing, and that them needing to sell in a timely manner. The property itself, is, I wouldn't say less important, but the seller specifications on
motivational factors
absolutely are more key than the property itself. Every property is unique. You've got the properties that are in a hot market, in demand, will sell in a day or two with a realtor. Those are still great properties for us because we can really force those buyers to compete and achieve at times what we believe is greater than market value for those. But the perfect property just comes down to the seller's need. There are properties, I will tell you, that don't work well for auction, in my opinion, and that is where, we go into a subdivision. There's multiple properties that are just about the same on the market: 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car, stucco. Some has a finished basement, some don't. But there's multiple properties on the market, and really a hard way to differentiate one from the other. That's a difficult auction property when you can just go down the street and buy another one just like it. So unique, hard to value properties work very well at auction. Properties that people enjoy looking at it from a lifestyle standpoint, like the former Neil Patterson property in Loch Lloyd. Just a beautiful property, beautiful amenities, but a very small buyer pool that we have to reach, that it's important for the seller to sell in a timely manner. And we were able to, with all the marketing data that we use, that's digital, target that specific buyer pool and create that compelling message in the marketplace to engage those buyers to drive competition.
I love that. So, and plus you said those sellers wanted to close that chapter. So
They really
that
did.
was like, it sounded like that was their most motivating factor, although they wanted to get a fair value.
Sure.
When they, so with the sale, and you already said how much that was, and we don't really need to reiterate it if
Right.
you don't want to, but were you, as owner of the company, and were the sellers pleased with, and you're not going to go, no, they weren't pleased, but was that somewhere where you wanted to come in? With the dollar figure that
It really was. On that one, I think we achieved 89% of appraisal, and we're able to do that in a 45-day timeline.
that seems
so
pretty incredible.
it was
for Kansas City, over
Yeah.
$3 million.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it was just under $3 million, but
I just keep bumping
that's okay.
the price
No, I
up to
appreciate that.
make it sound better.
Keep bumping it up.
Yeah, well, that $4 million property in Loch Lloyd on a half acre. No.
No, but the sellers were very pleased with the process, and then it closed 45 days later, and
That would have never happened.
Right,
Likely, unless a ball player's rolling in.
the other thing that we do is simplify that process for the seller, because it's an buy it in its present condition. It's contingency free. Sellers can do inspections, but the sale is not contingent upon inspections, financing, or appraisal.
So auctions are as is.
As is.
Okay.
Now, we provide in most of our residential properties a 1-year home warranty, but other than that, yes, you're able to see the property.
Sure. It's not no surprises.
That's right.
And you
That's
said
right.
they're able to conduct inspections. Just you're simply not able to ask the seller to remedy anything.
That's correct.
Yeah, and that seems fair. So I just want to go back to Jeff said a few minutes ago. He mentioned other realtors and if they have a listing and things like that. So I want to let people, all of our real estate professionals who are listening out there saying, well, why are you promoting the auction? What you may or may not understand is you, as a buyer's agent and a seller's agent, still have a role. You're still, and I hate to say, oh, you're going to get paid, because that's just a bad thing to say, but you're the one reaching out to Cates to provide the value of this awesome option for a house that's having some difficulty being sold. And you do get a referral fee as the seller's agent, is that correct?
That is correct.
And then the buyer, and we can get into what this looks like, but I'm strongly encouraging real estate professionals here. Is it just Kansas and Missouri?
Yes, those are our
Okay.
main two.
So please keep Cates on your radar. I mean, if you're having a really unique property and something's not selling, or you think it might be a good candidate, like I said, I've already called Cates twice in the last, 2 years to see if one of my listings that was having a difficulty selling would be a candidate. Unfortunately, they weren't a candidate, but I thought if I can sell this at auction with Cates, I'm providing my client with a great value. They're
Absolutely.
everyone's achieving the same end result. So
Right.
everybody wins.
Right.
So my producer's telling me we have about 30 seconds. So Jeff, I'm hopeful you'll come back. And if not, maybe you'll just stay. And let's talk about what the process looks like. And it sounds so simple and easy. I just want to find a property for you that you can, but I want you to do the hey, batter, or whatever.
And ladies and gentlemen, the auction's on right. They get 25, 30, they give it about 35, 40, 40, give it about 45, 50.
Do people just raise their number because they have no clue of what you said?
Yes. No, they don't.
Jeff, thank you so much. Everyone.
Lettiann, thank you.
Jeff Cates, catesauction.com.
Yep.
And next episode, stay tuned, because we're going to find out how you can find out about the properties that are coming on. You real estate professionals can utilize all the resources at Cates and help your client and add a value
Just
add.
another tool in their toolkit. That's right.
That's right. Very good. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.